Welcome to the CrossFit Max podcast. What is going on, team? It is Coach Susie here for the first time ever. I am introducing the podcast episode, and it's a really special one. We have a beautiful guest on this episode. We're talking all things starting CrossFit with client Ashley, and she is super vulnerable and talks about managing her Tourettes syndrome and how CrossFit has impacted that. So hope you enjoy the episode, and we'll see you on the inside. All right, 3, 2, 1. We are in it, folks. I know usually you have Coach B giving us the sneaky countdown where he pretends he's not recording, but we all know that he's already recording. And that's the intro to the podcast. But this week, you have me, Susie, and I have a beautiful guest with me. Welcome to the podcast, Ashley. Say hello.
Hello.
Ashley is a beloved client of CrossFit Max, one of our pretty OG clients, I would say. But we're going to have her on for another girly chat without Coach Brandon and just talk about CrossFit because this is a CrossFit podcast. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of all of the fun things, and probably seen by the title of this episode, Ashley's going to be talking about her Tourette's a little bit and just her general CrossFit journey. But before we get into all of that, let's just talk about you. Like, what do you do for work? What do you do for fun? Stuff like that. Just give us like a little, like, who is Ashley? How old are you? Just like, you know, the boring questions that we have to get out of the way.
Let's go. Yeah. So I am 27. I work as a veterinary technician, actually across the street. So we're very conveniently located for CrossFit Max workouts.
Love.
I've been a technician for 5 years.
Nice.
And I've been working in a veterinary establishment for 8 years.
What was your job before being a vet tech? Assistant.
Yeah, assistant to the technician and now the technician.
Wait, you would have been like 19 when you started.
As a tech or as an assistant?
As an assistant.
It was 2017. So I was like second year or first year of school, which was maybe 18, 19. Yeah.
Wow. So you've been at it for a long time, girl.
Yeah, because I graduated at 21.
From university.
From
CEGEP.
Yeah.
Because it's a 3-year program, right? A college, like for anyone who's not a local Quebec person, the school system here is like you do college after high school and then you can or can't do university after that. So yours was like a specific college program, right? 3-year program?
It was a technical program, a career program.
Nice.
For me, I did 4 years at Vanier because I needed math and sciences to get into the program. So I spent 4 years there. But yeah, in theory, there is sadly no university degree that you can do, but who knows? Maybe in the future it will be something.
Anyways, who cares where you got it? You got the degree.
But yeah, that's pretty much me.
Okay, what do you like to do for fun?
But in terms of funsies, besides coming here and working out,
of course,
that is definitely a huge part of my life.
I didn't pay her to say that, I swear.
I am someone who does like to. I like the fashion world. I really do like, you know, shopping, fashion, even if it's just like scrolling and seeing, like, you know, even if I'm not online shopping, for me, like, I just like to be in the fashion world.
It shows. She always has the best fits.
So yeah, I do like clothes a lot. I am someone though that is quite introverted, so I do like to be on my own sometimes, even if it's just like relaxing at home. Can't say there's too many hobbies that I might have.
You like going for brunch because I watch your Instagram stories every weekend and you're at the best brunch spots ever.
True. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I am quite a foodie. I do enjoy excursions of breakfasts or dinners, but mostly brunches. And I do have a good group of people that like to do that with me. So yeah, that's true. I do like that, or like little coffee dates.
Love.
Or like seeing all these like local cute cafes. But yeah, otherwise on my spare time, like a lot of time is spent... could just be like relaxing at home, watching some TV shows and movies.
What are you watching right now?
Right now, for the first time ever, I am immersing myself into the Gilmore Girls life.
Ooh, that's fun. Okay, I love that. I've never watched like all of it from start to finish. I've just watched like snippets.
It's kind of like what TV shows used to be before, like binging and Netflix and stuff like that, where you had like 9 full seasons, 22 episodes per.
I love when there's so many episodes.
But I have to say, I get why Gilmore Girls is as popular as it is because it's such a feel good, cozy show. But like it brings you back to like what life was in like the early 2000s and like growing up and stuff. So it kind of brought me back to that
Nostalgia.
too. So I'm watching that at the moment.
Cool. Love. I'll put it on my list. I'm always looking for new things to watch.
Otherwise, I do like trying to concoct my own little matcha lattes or coffees at home.
Cute.
Getting into like barista mode. But yeah, that's pretty much. Oh, well, of course, I always joke that I'm like a plant because anytime there's sun outside, I just love to immerse myself being outside too. In the summer, let's
You're like
face it,
Brandon. He loves the sunshine.
You're going to see me tanning
everyone does,
or
but
just going on some walks. But yeah, simple person. Can't say too much, but that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
I love it. You're also a Swiftie like me, right? A big Taylor Swift girl. So we have that in common. Okay, amazing. So now we know a little bit about who you are. Now I want to know a little bit about what you love. So we're going to spin it towards a little bit more CrossFit chat. So I want you to tell our listeners your favorite CrossFit exercise and tell us why that's your favorite exercise.
So I'm going to give two answers. One on like...
You can give as many answers as you want.
Oh, fantastic. So I'm going to go one on the Olympic lifting side and then one that would be seen more as like a gymnastic or like Metcon move.
Love.
So I do love me a good clean.
Oh, same.
I really have to say I love the cleans. Like even if I can't make it on a day where cleans are programmed, I will make sure like at the end of another workout that I do those
hit
clean.
them. Love it.
I just love the movement. I find they're super technical, especially when you get from a muscle clean to like a squat clean and really understanding the movement of like your elbows going fast and just getting under that bar.
It feels very badass.
Yes.
Like as a woman, when I'm like cleaning a barbell off the ground, I just feel like this like primal energy from within. I'm like, oh, I fucking lifted that. Let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and even like just for everyday things, like just because you have like that bracing and body positioning that you know how to clean, you can even use it to like your everyday life.
100%.
I don't know. I just absolutely love it, especially when that number goes higher and you're lifting more. You just definitely feel more badass.
Yes. You did we had a 12-week program called the Lift Lab. You did that, right?
I did.
And that was it was strictly an Olympic lifting program, right? And it was 2 days a week and you were able to focus on your clean a lot then.
Yeah.
Did you feel like did you PR your clean during that block or did you get close to something?
So the Lift Lab definitely, I would say, skyrocketed my love for Olympic lifting for sure. Like even when it was like the snatches, the clean and jerk, even though they were sometimes super tough and like mentally I would get really frustrated. I loved it. Like I just loved every moment. It was super fun. But because it was a clean and jerk and it wasn't a clean, technically...
Oh, you were limited by the jerking.
Kind of. So
okay,
technically
gotcha.
I PR'd a clean and jerk for a barbell. Like that was insane. But in terms of the clean, I had already cleaned it before.
Okay. Yep. That makes perfect sense.
It's still, because it was a clean and jerk complex, I'm still super happy that whatever I was able to clean as a PR, I even be able to like jerk it over my head.
Very impressive. And plus this current 12-week cycle that we're on at CrossFit Max, we are working on the clean. We're also working on the jerk, but separate.
Yes.
So like we're doing the jerks from the rack and we're doing the cleans obviously from the ground. So hopefully we're going to see some fun numbers on that.
Yeah. So that's why I like this training block too, because it just kind of keeps what I've been doing consistent. Yep. But another move that I really especially the moment I was able to really get it, was the double unders.
Oh, I wasn't expecting you to say that.
I put a lot of thought into thinking about like my favorite moves when you had
You
told
knew
me.
I was going to tell you.
And I'm like, I really have to think about this. And cleans wasn't obvious, but I'm like, you know what? Whenever I see double unders programmed, because I can do it now.
Yeah.
And even though sometimes it is challenging when your arms are super fatigued.
Right.
I got to say, once I secured the double unders, I absolutely love it, especially when they're in the open. I just feel like, okay, I can do this move. So yes, I was very excited with that one. And
wow, I love that you picked it because I wasn't I feel like that is not a lot of people's favorite movement because it can be one of the more frustrating movements, but also like more, I don't want to say boring, it's not boring, but like I feel that when people think about their favorite movement, they want to go more on the extravagant side, you know, whatever it is. So I was not expecting you to say double unders. Good for you. You're crushing it. Double unders are one of those movements that, like, once it clicks, you also feel very badass doing it.
Yeah, and after all the whips that you get from missing,
Girl.
and once you don't get those on your legs anymore, I mean, look, you're still gonna get them, but
I was like, I still get one per workout, and
But
like I'm pretty efficient.
It's kind of, it's just so fulfilling when you're like, I just strung. Like, I think the highest I ever got in one shot was like 49.50
Wow.
without stopping. And I'm just
that's
and
impressive.
it's just kind of that moment of like skipping where you're like, I'm actually doing this. Like, I'm not stopping.
And
This
then
is
like
amazing.
while you're going, you're like, wait, I'm still going. Oh wait, I'm still
Yeah.
going. And then the best thing ever is when you stop because either you're done your set or because you're like fatigued or your calves are tired, and not because you tripped on the rope.
Exactly. Where
Love.
it's just like, okay, I'm going to stop because if I don't stop, my arms are literally going to give out.
Yeah.
That you just kind of learn okay, even if you didn't do them all in a row, pace yourself and just do them in blocks. You're still going to get there.
Yeah. These days I'm stopping so I don't pee myself. But, you know, that's like my own postpartum journey that we won't get into because today is not about me and nobody wants to hear about that on the podcast. Okay, my dear. Let's put a pin in that banter topic. It's really nice actually for me to get to know you more. That's one of the things I'm really enjoying about having guests on the podcast is getting to know people that I know better. Like, I feel like it's not so often that we get to sit down and have undivided chats. You know, like we chat all the time in the gym, but we don't get like an undivided chit chat.
Yeah.
So today's episode, I want to just talk about your CrossFit journey in general. I feel like we've talked about you on the podcast, with or without your consent, who knows, a little bit before, because you have one of the more funny now, maybe in hindsight, because I feel like you're such a like diehard CrossFitter, but at the time when we were trying to kind of rope you in and get you on board as a client, you took a little bit extra convincing.
Yes, I did.
And Brandon and I refer back to that often when we meet new clients who are giving us a little bit of resistance. We're like, you know what, some people take longer, and we always say, like Ashley. So we use you as a point of reference that like sometimes like the first encounter you have with someone isn't going to necessarily be like how it goes. If I had given up, then maybe we would have just like never had you in. So tell the story from your perspective about joining the gym and how your first onboarding began.
Yeah. So I'll do a quick 5-second background before getting to CrossFit,
Yeah,
so that
please.
people know, I guess, the type of activity I did prior.
Yes, yeah, really important.
Because CrossFit is really like, if you knew me in the past years, thinking Ashley in CrossFit never would have been a sentence you put together.
I love that.
So
that's the case.
For 10 years as a kid, starting at the primal age of 3.5 years old, I was a little ballerina.
Oh my God. I can just picture ballerina baby Ashley. You were so cute. Oh my God.
So I did that for 10 whole years. I did not do
Damn.
this competitive, like, if anyone does know ballet schools that like does this professionally, that was never my thing. It was for fun, but
Love.
we still learned a lot of the technical part of ballet. It just wasn't, it was more recreational. So I did that for 10
so
years.
good.
Really enjoyed that. That's where my love of dance really flourished. And following that, I did 5 years of hip hop.
What? I didn't know this about you.
Yeah, so
a little dancing queen over
Yeah,
there.
so the reason why I left ballet into hip hop is because the teacher was just kind of closing down her business. And
sad.
at that time, I didn't really, the only other ballet schools were professional and whatever. It just wasn't my thing. So I did hip hop, and actually the place got renamed, but it was a common studio. If anyone was a dancer, it was called 8 Count.
Oh yeah, I know of it.
Yeah.
Never went there, but I like
Yeah.
all my friends who
So-
dance went there.
Yeah, so now I think it's branded under something else, but I did that for 5 years. And even in Stage Up in Vanier, one of my classes that I took was a dance class, so I really
No
kept
way.
that going.
Do you still dance?
I don't. In my head I do, and on my own you'll always see me moving. Like,
I feel like on your own it counts.
if
I'm not a singer, but I sing in the shower.
if I was a more bolder person who was not shy, I would be dancing more than I would doing CrossFit whenever the music would be playing here. I really have to stop myself from moving and grooving.
Oh my God, never hold back. This is a safe space to dance any day.
I absolutely love dancing. I just have the shyness in me that doesn't allow me to just like bust out and move wherever I am. But I love it so much. I even tried 3 classes of ballroom dancing once as a kid.
Oh, cool.
It just not the right time, but I did that too because I just loved it. And then during all of that, I was also a soccer player since 2009. So I think I did that for, I know it was under 10 years, but I did it for at least more than 5 years.
So you've always been active. Like you're not somebody, when you encountered CrossFit the first time, it wasn't the first time you'd encounter physical activity.
Correct. Like even in elementary school, every extracurricular activity, every sport team that you can be on, I did. So the cross-country running, cross-country skiing, basketball, volleyball.
Oh my gosh, I love.
All of that stuff I did, even track and field, everything running was at the time, that was my thing. Sprinting. High school, it was more only if you were an elite athlete. So we never got into those. But any chance that I got, I was always active. My parents always encouraged me to be active. And then pretty much once CEGEP hit, a technical career program is a little bit more intense. Right. So my focus was so on school that I kind of let exercise and activities kind of fall down unless it was doing like a gym class for school.
Right.
So I kind of lost a little bit there, but I still had soccer in the summer. So we were still kind of doing things, but not fully.
That's good.
And then when the pandemic hit, even more so, that was around the time, like 2 years after being a tech. And then pandemic hit. So like really my focus went from I'm in work, I'm only going to work. There's no time for anything else. Now the pandemic hit, there's really nothing to do. And kind of something sparked in me after, I guess, within the pandemic of, no, I can't keep sitting on my butt all the time. Like this is uncomfortable. I want to be better for my health. I think
a lot of people had that. Like I think the pandemic sort of got people to reframe their priorities for a lot of people. Yeah. And so I think some people maybe backed off of their fitness, which is sad, but also a lot of people probably had this similar thing to you, like, oh, you know what? Now I have a little bit more time on my hands because I'm stuck home. But also it makes you reevaluate what's important.
Yeah. And honestly, 2 major things happened, which will get me now into the workouts is pretty much one, during the pandemic, someone asked me, oh, what do you do for fun? Like during this pandemic, what are you doing when you're not working? And I couldn't answer them because for so long I was a student and then I was a tech.
So true.
And then we had an emergency one day that required a lot of physical strength.
Oh
so
my God.
In a veterinary hospital, you do have to sometimes use your strength during a dire emergency to carry a large, let's say, large dog in. And that had occurred. We will not go into details, but I had to say it just because to give you an idea. And I could not keep him with my colleague in my arms, and it fell. And now, nothing happened drastically. Nothing was wrong, but it's just when you have to carry...
It was a moment for you.
That I said, okay, I no longer want to be that small little girl who has no strength that no one can rely on for this stuff. I said something's got to change. Yeah. That's where my introduction to Pilates came in.
Cool.
I
love Pilates.
I did that for a few years. And then finally, Jen Allen, who is a veterinarian that I work with.
Yes, we love Jen. We love her.
Invited me and a few people to your opening in August.
Yes.
And I came with them.
I remember. So we had like a little sort of 5 à 7 style opening party here at CrossFit Max to kind of just invite people to come in. But there was no like working out. It was just like a chat and a chance for us to basically meet people and get their contact information.
And a delicious green juice.
Yeah, it was so good. Huh?
It was amazing.
That was Brandon's concoction.
Yeah, so I did that, and I literally, I think, went into going because I was being a nice friend. Jen had told me about it, and I said, sure, I'll come check it out. Like, it's literally across the street. Why not?
Yeah, though there wasn't too many barriers to stop you.
Yeah, and I don't think ever in my mind I was ready for like, oh, you're taking my contact information. I was like, okay, I literally thought it was just check out this gym. It's like I really hadn't done anything like that.
If anybody knows me, I have a little bit of a persuasive edge to me.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty much my goal of that day, was to get the contact information of everybody who walked in the gym. Yeah. And I mean, my super goal would have been to like sell memberships, which I managed to do some of that, but mostly it was just to like get contacts.
Yeah. And there was Susie with her laptop. And right when we pretty much were done with kind of the day, she had taken down our contact information. And yeah, I don't think I had thought anything of it. And then I got started getting your guys' emails of, okay, if you guys are interested, like, let's book a one-on-one or let's book your foundations. And I think at the time when Brandon first reached out, it was me and another girl that I worked with. She really wasn't interested in the end. It really was just me. So I think after a lot of times of me responding back, oh, my schedule is really busy. I don't know if I can make it this week. Oh, the hours are a little off. Like, definitely think of any excuse. I had it. I figured it out. I really don't know. I can't even remember before you sent the email. I can't remember what finally got me in the gym to do my first foundations.
I think I remember at one point emailing you and being like, hey, I can stop emailing you. Like, I think I basically was like, hey, if you're actually not interested, like, and I'm bothering you, because obviously it was early days of the business. So we were like hungry for people because obviously we wanted the business to be successful. So anyone who had expressed interest, I was like following up with fairly regularly. And I think at one point, after a few kind of quote unquote what I knew were going to be excuses coming from you, like, I was like, I think she's actually interested, but let me just give her a full out. So I think I actually told you, like, if you would like me to stop emailing you, no problem, just let me know. And I think that was kind of your moment of like, wait, I don't actually want you to stop emailing me.
So definitely, I can come up with any excuse to just not go into something new or something that was scary or something that was nervous for me. But definitely me being more of like the quiet personality, a little bit more introverted, or one that, you know, the whole time of the pandemic, Pilates was done in the comfort of my home, in the comfort of my room. That stepping back out into a gym was like, what do you like? It was just very scary for me.
So different.
But definitely having you and Brandon, but mainly you, because you were on the emails, just constantly emailing me.
I'm a pest.
It pretty much, it works for a personality like me, because it was kind of like your excuses might work for some people, but for others, again, it's a smart tactic. You're growing a business, but you're also being able to like, okay, well, if this week's not good because your time, let's try next week. Like, you didn't back out. You didn't stop. That I said, okay, just do it.
I'm not super good at taking no for an answer.
But like, I needed it. Like, someone might be hearing all this and they're like, my God, I would have just so like closed the email right away. But I definitely needed that. And I have to say, the very first time after the 5 set that you guys had, that I walked into the gym, where I think it was you and Brandon who were there.
Probably, we were always here.
Because this was at the time where like he would be doing it in between classes.
Yeah, it was busy.
It was just you and him pretty much in the gym.
Yeah.
I instantly felt like this is a good idea.
Aww.
Because I had a very happy Susie at the front desk just being so excited to see me. And then Brandon was very like calm, understanding, and like, what I appreciated was I was being heard.
Yeah.
And it's like, just because you're coming in with XYZ or whatever hesitations you might have, I didn't have someone being like, okay, this is what I expect of you. This is what you're going to do. It's going to be like, there was no pressure put on it. It was like, it's okay that you're at the point you are at.
100%. We always say we want to meet someone where they're at now.
Yeah. Like, it didn't make me feel like, okay, you're super behind. Pilates is absolutely not going to help you out. Like, basically, he at least validated, okay, actually you have good movement in these things because of the past sports that you've done.
For sure.
Really, it just seems to be blah, blah, blah that we need to work on, but don't worry. And he very much, I felt at that point being like taken under like the ropes of things.
Yeah, Brandon's pretty magical as a coach, I will say.
So I have to say, even though as business has picked up, there's like different people that do the foundations nowadays, I have to say I'm super thankful that at the time I joined, that I had my foundations done in such a quiet way. Like, there was no classes going on at the same time. It was just me and him or you. And it just allowed like scared little me to come in, like, not with, whoa, all these people doing CrossFit around me, like, I'm never going to attain that. It was really just, you're just going to learn. We're going to do something for half an hour. I just need to see where you're at. And there's no judgment.
Yeah, we really still do it that way when needed. So if anyone's listening to this, even though we have a more full schedule and a more full gym now, Brandon and I both take most of the clients off group class hours because we always onboard every new person with some one-on-one sessions to make sure that we're meeting them where they're at, that we're teaching them proper movement mechanics before we throw them into the group class, which we are aware for most people. Okay, not everyone. Some people like really thrive in that environment, but well, everyone thrives in that environment. But for most people, it's intimidating to start with. And we're very aware of that. And we don't want the fear factor to stop someone from getting started.
Yeah.
So then after that, you did your foundations.
Yes, I did.
You crushed it. She did them at a snail pace, but that's totally fine because
I
weren't.
did them like once a week.
Yeah.
But then it was to secure my membership. Took me a solid month.
Yeah. And then after that, she kind of, I had to hop back on the emails. And I think the first thing you did was you took a punch card.
Yes.
So you didn't even buy like a membership. You bought like 10 classes because you wanted to like use them slowly. And again, from the business side of things, technically when someone buys a punch card, they're paying more per class than anybody in the class. But we would much prefer someone to be on a membership just on a business side of things because it's more stable income.
Yeah.
Right? But obviously all memberships are good memberships. Anybody who signs up in some form is a good thing. But, we really did try and convince Ashley to get some sort of membership and she was pushing back and we're like, okay, look. Let's start with the 10 punch card and like see how it goes. And tell us how it went. How did the 10 punch card go?
So it went good. Boy, did it not last long at all. So punch card was, again, Ashley trying to find excuses for her busy work life because all she did was eat, sleep, and work.
Yeah.
And she just assumed that any sort of activity outside of work was unattainable. And people, please do not ever feel like that is the case because that is such a terrible way of living.
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I really don't recommend, and a brick had to hit me in order for me to realize that. So the 10 class pack was helpful because it allowed me to go at my pace, that if I wasn't able to commit twice a week at the time, then okay, you come once. And then it was basically trying to find ropes in going from doing these like 30 to 40 minute Pilates workouts at the comfort of your home whenever you want,
right?
Any hour of the day is possible, to now, okay, you're going into in gym with other people that are class based, that you have to fit in with your hours at work. When are you going to do it before? At the time, I also was driving, but I didn't have my license. Okay. So I also had to go with, I'm not going to be the one bringing me to the gym. I have to also make sure someone can bring me.
Now she drives here in her beautiful car that she owns.
So there was not a lot of things in my way, but a lot of things that I now had to consider.
Right.
So that's why the 10 punch card allowed me just to have a feel
ease
for
into
things.
it.
Definitely after the first, because I think I finally secured my membership in October. I signed up in August. I think I completed my foundations in September and then took a month. And I think like October 14th, it's in my memory.
I love that you know the date. That is literally, are we going to throw a party this year?
As like my official start time.
Okay.
So from October to December, I think I showed up sparingly, like really not
correct.
Open.
I remember.
And then the conversation of the open came up. And
I remember, of course.
I was talking to Brandon. I was talking to Justin. I don't know who else I was talking to at the time too, but
yes, because Justin was coaching.
Me, and they were all asking me like, "Are you going to sign up?" And I'm like, "Who am I to sign up? Like, I just started or whatever." And they really urged me to do it, and I said, "You know what? Why not?" It was January at the time.
That was a big leap. Good for you.
It was a huge leap.
That was brave.
That's also when my membership went from a 10 punch card to twice a week. And then loving it more and more. The open was a huge wake-up call over, wow, there's a lot that we need to work on. But actually, I had Justin as my coach for the open. And he was very supportive, I have to say. Like, I have to give him props.
He's amazing.
He's a very good coach and a good...
Fantastic.
So that helped me a lot during, like, the very first open of, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I couldn't even do kipping knee raises.
Yeah, we were like, you were very beginner at the time.
Very beginner. Wall balls took me forever. The row took me forever. And then from there was like, okay, I kind of use that as like the catalyst into we're going to get better. We're going to be better.
You left the open hungry for fitness games.
Especially seeing everybody else. And I remember
So
vividly
good.
Lucy during the open, getting those toes to bars, getting
Yeah,
off.
she cried. I remember she cried.
But
Yes.
like, for me, it was just seeing everyone. I even remember Sasha. That was her first open too, I think.
Yes.
And for me, it was because I went so early in the open, I was able to watch the magic of what the open really was. I was able to see the magic of this community and just everyone that I didn't know very well.
Right.
And like, look how all these people are just coming together. And I'm like,
this is cool.
you're going to be better next year. Like, I use that as like, I need to have these
You
moments.
hear that, guys? That's why you sign up for the open when you don't feel like you're ready, because then it gives you a marker. And now you've done, 3 opens?
Yeah.
And it's probably really fun now to look back at how you've improved since then.
And from there, we went from twice a week to 3 times a week to
now
unlimited.
She basically pays rent and lives here.
And I tell you, the increase of membership really went from 2 to 3 to unlimited quite fast.
Yes.
So I definitely would say that after the open and doing more classes and feeling what those good endorphins do to you, how much of a benefit it was, me taking time outside of work to get this exercise in. I'm like, okay, I was starting to see the benefits. I want to be better. And I just went for it. And yeah. And then so is now, where basically if I do not come 5 days a week,
You're
5 times a
pissed.
week, I'm actually really upset because
Yes. I know
I'm
that
missing
feeling.
out on a workout. But also, like, when my body doesn't move, I'm definitely at that point now where it's like, my body didn't move today and like I'm antsy. Like,
Yeah.
I need to do something because I've sat for too long.
It's crazy how quickly you're, once you sort of, drink the Kool-Aid or whatever the expression is, you buy into it and it becomes such an important part of your lifestyle. Your life feels like destabilized when you're not doing it, because it becomes such a foundational part of making you feel good. I felt like that when I was like pregnant and I had just given birth, and obviously I wasn't physically able to work out. I just wanted to be back in the gym so bad because I wanted to feel like me again.
Yeah.
Okay, I love this because your story, you don't necessarily follow the trajectory of like an athlete where, we typically try and kind of get them in coming 3 days a week from the beginning so that they can sort of get to that point that you're obviously at now a little bit more quickly. But I love your story because it shows that even if you have a healthy level of skepticism, if you just take the little leap, dip your toe in, eventually you're going to start to realize that this is a safe space, this is a comfortable place. And once you kind of start to really buy into it, it then does sort of the adaptation mentally and physically happens on the quicker side once you start to come more frequently. But you don't have to, if you're somebody like Ashley and you're feeling a little bit skeptical and you're sort of hearing your story, you can start by coming 1 day a week. Sure, that's not what we would choose for our athletes because we want them to kind of buy in sooner, but everybody can start at their own pace. So I love your story from that. And I also love that I did not give up on those fucking emails, and it worked, guys. It worked. So if you're working in a business or in sales, follow up with your people. It's like super worth it. Don't let people slip through the cracks. So that's just my little nugget on that. All right, Ashley, I want to talk to you about your Tourette's.
Yeah.
So we have kind of talked to you about you a few times on the podcast. And obviously we like slipped it in at the beginning. I didn't want this episode to be just about that because honestly, I forget that you even have Tourette's. Like it doesn't occur to me in my interactions with you and my coaching with you and anything. But I actually don't know that much about it, to be honest. So maybe speak to our audience like we know nothing, and also like we're kind of 5 years old-ish.
Yeah.
Like for the people like me who are like, please don't use too many medical terms. But tell us, what is Tourette's? How does it affect you? I know it's one of those things that affects a lot of people in different ways. So talk about your experience.
All right. So just a brief overview, and bear with me, guys. I don't want to ramble, so I'm going to be
just
the
make
best
sure you're
possible.
close. Sorry.
So Tourette's, as just the name, if you were just to ask like what is Tourette's, so Tourette's is a neurological disorder.
Okay.
So it does not fall into like a mental illness. It's truly a neurological disorder. So your brain is, let's just go, programmed and wired differently.
Okay.
It's a neurological disorder that affects your motor nerves. So you have different nerves in your body, and the motor nerves are what gets affected by Tourette's. So Tourette's, to be fully classified as Tourette's and not a tic disorder, because it also veers off into that. Tourette's needs to have motor nerves and vocal nerves. Motor tics and vocal tics. Tic disorder is you just have a tic, and I'll get into that.
Okay.
So a vocal tic can be what I would say the common population would think of Tourette's is when someone blurts out swear words.
Yes, what we see like on TikTok and stuff.
Exactly. But that actually is only 10% of an entire population with Tourette's. It's just because it is so in your face, because you can't control blurting out something.
Right.
Often people are like, how the heck do you have Tourette's? You don't do that. Pretty much a vocal tic can be that, where you have uncontrollable speech and you just blurt things out. Or you have things like a cough, clearing your throat, a clicking sound in your, like some people might click in their, just like whatever.
Yeah.
Anything that is auditory, pretty much.
Okay.
A regular motor tic is anything from a blink to your arm moving a certain way, to your legs stiffening, or a foot roll, or your head twitching, something like that.
Okay.
A tic disorder really is just that you have a tic. So you either just blink, or you blink and you roll your wrists. You do not have the vocal part.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, when someone is classified as having Tourette's, they have like the tic and the vocal.
Correct.
Okay,
you have to be classified as both. So in the beginning, when I was we were looking into this, it was 2010. I was in grade 6.
Okay.
I was just clearing my throat more than usual. And we're like, okay, I had just had strep throat. So we all know that when you get sick, what's the last thing to go is a cough.
Right.
And I just kept coughing and clearing my throat, and we just found it odd. And then little by little, because grade 6 is obviously, as a female, your body's going through a lot of changes, but also you're applying for high school. There's a lot of stress going on in the body, externally and internally.
Very true.
They were wondering, okay, puberty, is it bringing it on? And then I started blinking, and then basically my blinks went from just a blink that happened more frequently than the average person to blinking and rolling my eyes. So everyone thought I was rolling my eyes at them. To then just
that must be so hard, especially when you're young.
And then a flutter of the eyes where it was like 3 blinks at once and 3 blinks at once, which led to closing my eyes, which led to very pronounced blinks, which is where I'm at now, where the blinking is either really quick or like holding it in for seconds. So at first they're like, oh, she must have a tic. Because I wasn't doing, they didn't like at the time, obviously doctors,
they're trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure out, they didn't know too much. So at first we're just like, okay, she has a mild form of tics. It should go away once she's like 18.
Is that something like that happens? Do people grow out of tics?
So in theory, because it is a neurological disorder, you can't physically change your brain.
Right.
But depending on the severity of your Tourette's and the lifestyle that you might live, you might be better at managing them, that it almost feels like they're no longer present.
Okay.
So as my life progressed into high school, my tics became more, instead of blinking, now they started going everywhere else in my body, and it would change month by month, week by week.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't know
the
this.
only thing that stayed consistent was my eyes. My blinking is something that has been with me since 2010 until now is 2025. Otherwise, I've had moments where I would just cough or clear my throat more often. I will hold my wrists, like do a stretch of my arm and my wrist, but like hold it there for a while. I would be walking in the hallways and my leg would have to like contract and like stay in a position. Okay, keep going.
And it's like fully out of your control?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I just want to make sure.
That's true. I should have also mentioned that.
I just want to make sure that I'm understanding, and I didn't want to sound dumb. So tell me.
Yes. No, but you make a good point. That's something I should have said, is that Tourette's is, everything is uncontrollable.
Okay.
So anyways, like my tics would move, and they've all pretty much been the same since my high school days of, until 2015. Like even at 27 years old, I'm still doing all the same tics and then some as I did there. So they always stay within you, but your tics will improve when your body is not stressed. Your tics will worsen when you're very stressed or you're moving a lot. So when you're exercising, exercise is so good for the brain and so good for your body. But if you're someone with Tourette's, it amplifies your tics because, well, your motor nerves, everything is moving. So you want to do them more.
Okay, tell me if this is good understanding. It's like because you're using your physical body so much when you're working out and you're sending all these messages to your muscles and your body, you're also like your Tourette's symptoms increase because there's more signals being sent to your tics.
Yeah, so you're going to tick sort of more during and a little bit after, but some people even experience that their tics are improved after a workout because your body has moved and gotten out some of that stressful energy.
Okay, cool. So, is that your experience?
Kind of.
Okay,
kind of.
Yeah, sorry.
But
I'm jumping ahead. I love to do that.
It keeps me on track. I love it.
It's good.
So yeah, pretty much in terms of my tics, I have everything in the book. I'm not going to name every tic that I have, but certainly
no, that's not that important.
No, but pretty much I have anything that goes from the top of my head all the way down to my feet.
Okay.
And I will do, and most people with Tourette's or any type of neurological disorder, when you're in a public setting, you try to not do your tics to showcase to other people. So for instance, if I can really control myself, then I will clench my jaw because no one can see that instead of twitching my head.
Okay, so you know that like you can kind of sense that a tic is coming on.
Yeah, so pretty much your body 24/7, except when you're sleeping, I guess. So not 24/7, but pretty much the majority of the time
while
that you're awake,
yeah,
your body is trying to control your tics. I don't want to do them. I'm trying to control how I do them, but there are certain moments that I can't.
That must be exhausting.
It is. So definitely that's one thing I never gave myself as validation is that
girl, I barely notice your tics.
Every time I would be so tired, doctors are just like, oh, her iron must be low. Oh, well, you know, she's going through puberty or whatever. But it only finally took 2 years ago for a doctor to be like, you're exhausted because every waking moment of your life, you are trying to control your tics.
Damn, girl.
But there are still moments that I do them in the comfort of my own home. No one sees me. If I need to do one that's a little bit more aggressive, I do. At work, it's a really go day, look, it's going to happen. At the gym, I will do them too. Like certain times, I have to let it out. But pretty much it's an uncontrollable movement. You're pretty much trying not to be made fun of. So you just try to control them.
I hope you feel like you're in a safe space here at CrossFit Max.
Well, that's definitely something that if I go back to first walking into the gym, having Brandon basically listen to me and tell him that, look, I have Tourette's. I hadn't told I'm not someone who tells people this often.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that you're talking about it because I feel like I'm learning. I'm getting emotional just because I feel like we're getting closer together as friends right now, and I know this is a big deal for you to be talking about it. So thank you for doing this. So
if you can imagine, obviously having Tourette's at a young age of 20. In 2010, I was in grade 6, right?
Kids are awful.
Yeah, and I doubt anyone from my elementary school life is listening to this, but anyone that is hearing this and it's like, oh, you know what? I used to be that person that would make fun of someone or whatever. Look, I don't want to go in the past anymore. Yes, I was bullied. Yes, I was made fun of. Horrible. That even continued in high school because it is so in your face. Yeah. But in all honesty, Tourette's is not something that's often ever talked about.
No.
And being a female, one thing I've also learned is many neurological disorders present differently. So you never actually know, this is here's an explanation of why you are the way you are, because you're always compared to the boy standard.
Right, because all of the freaking research is always done on men.
Exactly.
Got it.
So walking to the gym for the first time.
Fuck the patriarchy. Just kidding, sorry.
So walking to the gym for the first time, being in a public setting was never a comfortable thing for me because my Tourette's made me more and more shy because I'm trying to prevent being made fun of. So even going to protect yourself. I even tried BuzzFit for a while. I did that for a summer or a season. I don't even remember. And I just felt like I was constantly being watched. Even though that's not the case.
You're on high alert.
Yeah. So having Tourette's, not only are you controlling your tics a lot, but you're on high alert. It's made me someone who's very
It's like your brain is doing 3 jobs at once all the time.
Yeah. So I'm on high alert. I'm always observing. I'm always looking over my shoulder to make sure who's watching me. So that's why I went into doing Pilates at home because no one can make fun of me.
Safe space.
And if I need to take a break, do
your thing.
And I can pause the video because it's not live. Nothing's going to hold me back.
Love.
So when Brandon heard, when I told him, I said, look, I have Tourette's. Here's a few things that might hold me back or why I'm really nervous. and like, not a single judgment from him. No,
Oh my God,
I
he
expect
is the
him
best for stuff
Did I
like
expect
this.
him to be judgmental? Obviously, no. But instead of him looking at it as, okay, that's no excuse, I still expect you to do this, it's like, thank you for telling me
Yeah,
that.
like help me understand. Yeah.
Help, like, if ever something I'm trying to teach you is getting in the way of that, tell me.
Yeah.
And we're just going to work through this, you and I, at your pace. Like, to me, that's, for someone who's super nervous walking into a gym for the first time, and this is why.
Good job, Brandon, if you're listening.
This is why, like, if anyone asks, like, why is it so scary for you to walk into a gym for the first time? It's because for so long, I'm just used to people not giving validation to the Tourette's or just not understanding it or making fun of it. I'm like, yes, these classes are with more mature people. Like, it's not anyone who's going to be like 12 years old.
Still. Yeah.
No one, you come to realize as time goes on that no one is going to dislike you for having Tourette's, and no one's going to make fun of you. And if they do,
we don't want them. Yeah, we don't want those types of people around. And, you know, I know that a lot of people can relate to being super nervous and worried about being judged coming in the gym, even if they don't have Tourette's and they're just coming into the CrossFit gym for the first time. So I can imagine you have a whole other layer of it. But I know that people can relate to that feeling without Tourette's too.
Yeah.
So can I ask you, when you're working out, like, obviously doing a CrossFit workout is already super challenging, as we all know. And if you don't know, sign up to your local CrossFit gym, friends. What are you waiting for? But what like things do you have to sort of do to accommodate your Tourette's during? Let's say you're on the rower and you feel like, do you feel a tick coming on? Like, can you just, like, let's do like a scenario. You're rowing and it's tick time. What's happening?
It's TikTok time. Okay, so as an example, let's use the rower because it has happened many a times on the rower.
And I feel like on the rower you're kind of stuck, right? So
yeah, so this is where having multiple areas to have your ticks is like a blessing and a terrible thing at the same time, because your body will just find a way.
Yeah.
So if I'm on the rower, one thing you're gonna see more is my head shaking, because it's the only thing that's not working. So I will blink, I will shake my head, or I've even done it sometimes where like my whole mouth will have to open.
Okay.
Or like I'll clench my jaw. So everything happens more in the head.
Yeah.
I will definitely, before the workout starts, do all of my back ticks, like get myself warmed up.
Okay, you kind of shoulders. Like allow your ticks to happen before the 3, 2, 1 go kind of thing.
Exactly. And then if I have to do it because it's kind of like a go, 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 well then that everything's going to go in my head region. Double unders, for example.
I was just thinking about that because we talked about how that's your favorite movement. Tell me.
So during the open, when the second workout where you had to do double unders, we had to do 30 or 50 of them? I don't even remember. The whole time I was skipping, my eyes were pretty much closed. So that's also another issue where, like, when I look back in the video, why I'm not perfectly straight is because my body's moving, because I don't have a center of gravity. My eyes are pretty much closed and blinking.
It's crazy because as like just like your coach, you move so well. Like, I don't always remember that you're going through this obstacle at the same time.
So for double unders, it'll be a lot of blinking. And unfortunately, me trying to hold focus for a while, a lot of times is why I have to stop skipping, because my body's like,
your brain
if
is
you
too
don't
busy.
like, I'll get off my routine and then whatever, shake it out, go back on.
Yeah.
A barbell, a lot of times bracing.
Yeah.
That's a tough one sometimes because I'm already trying to brace not to tick, that my body doesn't have it in me to fully brace.
Wow.
So in terms of core strength, of like sometimes why I lack in it, it's because like my body is already holding itself like, you're gonna squat, please do not screw something up.
Right.
But like, okay, it's like everything, it doesn't have the strength anymore to do it. So everything just lets loose. Or for instance, when you're going to do a deadlift or a clean or a snatch where you have to like brace on the bar. If I brace too many times, because part of it's a tick, I have to stop, get up, brace properly, then do it quickly, because the more I stay in that position, I'm
just
either
inviting them in.
Exactly. Or like I'll lose my focus. So like I have to make sure, okay, if this one didn't go well, okay, go on to the next one. Like just stop, try again.
And do you feel like it's like a safety issue a little bit? Or you feel like kind of you've learned how to manage it so it's not a safety issue?
No, I wouldn't say it's a safety issue. It's just more, if I don't do the move properly, you're going to hurt yourself. So if you don't feel like you got a good brace on the bar you're going heavy,
you're a smart girl and you do your tick.
Just try again. Because the worst that can happen, unfortunately, even though I know how to like ditch the bar,
is that you would drop it.
You can drop it, or like if you're going overhead, my muscles are already super sore from my ticks, that you're just going to make your muscle hurt more because you didn't do a move properly because you weren't 100% braced.
So as an athlete with Tourette's, you avoid injury by just being super mindful before you're lifting a weight, basically.
Yeah, and most of my injuries happen in the areas where my body constantly ticks. And this is something massage has, like getting massages.
Therapy.
Thank you. Words don't come to me.
That's all good.
By doing them more frequently, I have been able to learn, like, you're not painful just for being painful. Your muscles are so tight because
you're
you
just using
tick
them so much
all the time. So I often get a lot of upper back injuries because the muscles are already super tight. That pretty much if I do a poor movement that's not properly braced, the muscles are just not happy to begin with.
Right. But when we're talking injuries, these are not like drastic injuries. These are like little things that we work through, right?
Exactly.
Just so the listener knows, like she's not walking around like bandaged up here, people.
These are just like injuries from
like just overuse of muscle.
Exactly. And technically for maybe the average Joe, it wouldn't injure them to that point, but because my muscles
are strained,
as described by these massage therapists, your back is like cement. That's how tough your muscles are right now. Unfortunately,
she's shredded, guys.
Just by doing a movement poorly with your muscles already being at like 50% because you've been ticking the whole time. Every other time chronically for all these years, your certain muscles in certain areas of the bodies are not. It takes a lot of time to get them loose, but when they're loose, they're just going to go back to tight.
Got it. Because, I understand. That makes a lot of sense. So my question, what was I going to ask? I was going to ask you something. How, if it has or hasn't, has CrossFit impacted your Tourette's? Is there have you noticed that your tics are different, better, worse? I don't know if that's the right word. I feel like I don't want to describe them as better or worse. No. More frequent, less frequent.
So Tourette's, what's interesting about it is Tourette's is also a iceberg complex where the tip of the iceberg is Tourette syndrome.
Right.
But everything underneath the water is every other comorbidity that comes with Tourette's. So comorbidity pretty much means that you can't just have Tourette's, you have other things that come with it that will also heighten your Tourette's, or the Tourette's will heighten something else. So for me, Tourette's, I am pretty much all of the comorbidities except for one pretty much, where you have anxiety disorder. So generalized anxiety disorder is one of them. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, so ADHD.
Yeah.
Some people experience depression and others have obsessive compulsive disorder.
Got it.
Now,
so these are things that go hand in hand with Tourette's syndrome.
Correct. Now, I'm sure if anyone else is listening in the world that has Tourette's, you might have other things that are going on as well. Absolutely, you might. But this is when we're just talking in general.
Got it.
Most of the time, that's the iceberg with all those things. And then each pillar, anxiety, OCD, ADHD, and depression, come with their own baggages as well. Of course.
And a lot of people, unfortunately, can relate with those things, even people without Tourette's. So.
Yeah, so that's why when it comes to the iceberg, it's because everything just keeps branching off. So my Tourette's is worse when I'm more anxious.
Right.
If I'm going through a more OCD phase, my Tourette's will be worse. If my ADHD is bad, then my Tourette's will be bad, so on and so forth. If someone is experiencing depression, if they're going through a depressive episode, maybe their tics will also show that too. Or the more they tick, the more they'll make them depressed.
It's like a cycle.
So in terms of CrossFit, how it helps, one, I've definitely seen for my overall anxiety, movement truly, when they say movement is medicine, I 100% agree with that, is even though I work in a very stressful environment, veterinary field is definitely high stress.
Yes, you're dealing with literally life and death.
Yeah. And, as every field is working at right now, is low staffed. So there's just very long hours, very stressful that, I can't say that CrossFit fully takes away my stress just because That's always not realistic. In that.
Yeah.
But coming from a high work environment and coming into a gym that's just a whole hour of movement, just allows for those really good endorphins. I feel it so much after. Like, there's many times that I will be exhausted from doing a shift from like 7 to 5, 7 to 5:30. The 6 o'clock class really feels like a snail's pace of getting there. Like, oh, I just want to lie on my bed and rot for the night. Or I'll have really low energy all day and I'm like, oh, where am I going to CrossFit? Like, I have no energy all day. And I will come back from a 1-hour class and I am the giddiest person at home. I have so much energy.
Isn't that crazy?
So it increases my mood.
Same.
It does help to release the anxieties. It does help to release the tension. Even just being in a different environment that's not always home or work that I see every day, having that different escape of the environment with so many positive people has been super awesome. You make friends here. You cheer people on.
For sure.
You yourself have little wins of, you have Tourette's, you blink, you shake your head, you sometimes need to take it a little slower than others because, you know, when you
because your brain is doing a gazillion things.
Yeah. But you know what? You just lifted a 135-pound barbell over your head in a clean and jerk.
Fuck yes.
You're able to do all these things. You're improving your fitness.
Yeah, you're killing it.
Without,
you're absolutely killing
like,
it.
So basically that positivity from seeing the improvement, the endorphins that come from that.
Yeah.
I'll like just give me that sort of like validation and happiness.
Yay.
But also for sure, after CrossFit, because I have moved a lot, am I necessarily ticking the hour-ish later? I'm not going to say no, because that's impossible to be 100% better, but my body feels so much better that being in a better mood and not needing to tick because a little bit of the stress has left definitely makes for a better, like a more
manageable.
Exactly. So there is definitely a reason. And even all my doctors have told me that is they've encouraged me to further my exercise, especially when, you know, these past few years, I've really seeked more of like a new type of neurologist and doctor because back in the days, like I said, they just didn't know too much. So hearing that, validating, yes,
you're doing the right thing.
All these things, and CrossFit and exercise is good for every little point of Tourette's, ADHD, OCD, anxiety, all that stuff. They're very encouraging over it. And they say, yeah, if you experience this, it's normal. You'll experience it for the hour because you're moving more, but you're going to feel so much better after. And yeah, I definitely feel that.
Yay. That makes me so happy because I can't begin to imagine how exhausting it is for you. And even if you get just a little bit of relief from your workout, like, that's freaking amazing. I also think it's freaking awesome to, you know, highlight the fact that all of those things that we were talking about weren't such physical things. Like, obviously Tourette's is a neurological thing, but, you know, the bottom parts of the iceberg are the bottom parts of the iceberg for a lot of people, just like anybody, you know, myself included. I dealt with quite a bit of postpartum depression, and working out fills up that mental cup equally as much in my case as it fills up the just like physically, like it's nice to have like good fitness and, you know, fit your clothes well, but it also is really nice to just feel like you can just release some of the stress that you're holding in your body. And I feel like it's super fun to hear you saying that, you know, kind of getting over your fears and becoming a CrossFit girly, because she's like a true CrossFit girly now, guys, has allowed you to kind of at least fill, like, pour into your other buckets. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, like, well, unfortunately or fortunately, I feel like it's just what you live with now. But like, having Tourette's isn't stopping you from doing all of these amazing things. You know what I mean? And from my side, I like always forget. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm interacting with you, I don't feel like, you know, you're doing weird tics or you're doing anything different. When I'm coaching you, you're just like a CrossFitter. Like, I sometimes now I'm going to be even more in awe of you because I know a little bit more how you're managing. But I just like, I'm already in awe with you as just like a general athlete. You know, to me, this doesn't define who you are, but just to know that you're dealing with trying to manage your tics at the same time of like literally crushing workouts and crushing PRs and lifting crazy weights is quite inspiring.
I definitely go on what you've said in the past of like, you're a better mom, you're a better wife, you're a better daughter by doing CrossFit.
100%.
100%. I'm a better coworker. I'm a better daughter. I'm a better friend when I've been to CrossFit. If there's been moments where work has won and I'm still at work and I've missed my class, I'm definitely in a poor mood.
Yeah.
And I'm just more sulky, or I'm still in that low energy. And again, once you've dipped your toe into this beautiful CrossFit life and you learn about your body and its capabilities, and then eating right and what that has to do with your performance. Just a
beautiful domino effect.
The whole cascade of things. Your nutrition will be better. You'll look into pre-workouts. You'll look into your electrolytes. You'll be more mindful of the protein you eat. You'll be more mindful of your sleep schedule, of drinking, of partying, like all that stuff.
You're just like a little poster child, Ashley.
It's just been like, it's the most I've ever allowed myself. I've immersed myself in it. I've given myself like, this is a me time. I feel better. I look in the mirror and I'm happier with what I see. And every time I listen to your podcast where you're saying that CrossFit's not about the physical appearance. It's just not. You happen to also...
It just comes with it.
It comes with it, but...
It's like the cherry on top.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this to anyone listening that come to do CrossFit because you're going to look amazing. No, that's not the point. But when you will. When you also just feel good and you see those muscles starting to form on your body, or again, little Ashley that always was saying like, I want to be toned. I just want to see muscle. Like, I don't have to be the fittest person in the world, but I just want to be more toned because I want to be able to lift a golden retriever, a Great Dane 100%. On a table. Like, I don't want to be seen as that like little tiny person anymore. It's just, all in all, your life feels better despite the challenges, despite the hard times, despite the stress. Tourette's is frustrating. I hate it. I wish I didn't have it. But you know what? The more that I've been here, the more people that I have met, the more people that happen to have learned from my Tourette's and just look at me and say, yeah, that's so cool. Never in my life as a younger kid in school did anyone ever look at me and say, yeah, that's cool. Now it's like, no, it's because back then... It's
fucking incredible what you're able to accomplish. Like, you're my superhero right now.
And like, I don't talk about myself like this, and like already doing all this on the podcast is super different because...
I'm so proud of you.
Tourette's is not something that I willingly talk about, or I just talk about myself. But I have to say, just CrossFit in general and this environment has allowed me just to give me the moments of... It's okay to feel proud of yourself.
Yes.
But it's also okay that if you're frustrated with a workout because it didn't go well, or your tics were really bothering you, or you couldn't get this lift, okay, that's fine. Any challenge that comes your way, yeah, you'll be really frustrated, but I've gotten the tools from here to make me more of that person that I've been molded into a better version.
Oh my God,
I'm not saying I'm the best version, but so awesome. Definitely... I have done a lot of growing over the years, a lot of learning, and I'm pleased with what I've been doing and what I've overcome so far.
I really feel like you've come out of your shell since I've known you quite a lot. You know, you refer to yourself as like a shy person, but that is not my experience of you. Obviously, you know, I hope that you feel like you're in a safe space here, but I feel like you've just like blossomed into a super outgoing person. I always see you welcoming and talking to new people. The fact that you're on this podcast, like, I think that little shy Ashley is, she gone. We got very confident. You exude confidence. You hold yourself in such a nice way. You're extremely friendly and personable. So, I mean, keep doing what you're doing, girl. You're crushing it.
Thanks, Susie.
All right, we have to end the podcast with the most important part.
Let's do it.
Client of the week. Pew, 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 pew. Ashley, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yep.
Because you're on here. And so I have no idea, but I want you to nominate this week's client of the week. Are you ready?
I actually am, because I figured you would ask me.
Yes.
And I really tried to think. And every time I tried to think of someone, it was always one person that came back in mind. And I have to call her out. She has been very inspirational from the first time I joined CrossFit. Aww. But also as I've watched her, even though I necessarily might not be very close with her, I've watched her and I just find she is really freaking awesome and strong.
She
and
is.
That is
I don't even
Malice.
know. Oh, Malice. So, shout out, honey bunny.
Her pre-pregnancy, I was always so impressed at her as an athlete.
Yeah, she's
Looking at the leaderboard,
definitely an athlete.
It was always her chasing you, chasing Justin, and chasing Brown. Like, she was always one of those top 5.
Yes.
And it was always a name that I had heard of but never met at the beginning.
Yeah, I feel like you guys don't really train at the same time of day.
And then some of our classes started to mix, and I got to know her a little bit more. And I was like, oh yeah, I see that. I saw her in the open. She's always crushing it. And then she became a mama.
Yes.
And watching her train pregnant, and I do have to give a shout out to, I think 8 or 9 women that were pregnant.
Yeah, it was crazy.
You guys were such a terrific example and such an inspiration, because watching you guys train, but like put out amazing numbers, I have to say is so awesome, that I really just was in awe of you guys.
Yeah.
And then watching her come back from pregnancy and like literally be like,
insane.
Old Malice is back.
No.
Nothing's
She's
changed.
like way fitter.
She's like can't
more
believe it.
fit. Malice.
She's being a mom,
She's
being
insane.
a dentist, doing CrossFit, being a wife. Like soon to be wife.
Soon to be wife.
But
that's okay.
Just being a partner. Like, I'm always so in awe of her. I find she is such a terrific example. And seriously, she is crushing it. Her numbers are even
the best.
better than pregnancy.
She is.
She did so well on the open. So yeah, I just want to shout her out because I really think she's doing an amazing job.
I agree with you. She's absolutely crushing it. That's a great one.
Malice.
So thank you, Malice. Congratulations. Very well deserved client of the week. So thank you, Ashley, for nominating her. And I'm sure she's very smiley right now hearing all the beautiful things you said about her. Ashley, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Well, thanks for
having me. Thank you for being vulnerable and educational for everybody. I hope our listeners got to learn a little bit more about Tourette's. One thing I really want to reiterate, because it's important that I say this, is like from our side here at CrossFit Max, this is just a tiny little piece of who you are. It isn't the thing that defines you. It's just like a little nugget, but it's so nice to talk about. But I just want you to know that that's like, this isn't who you are. This is just a small part of you. And it's been really nice to get to know you a little bit more on this episode. So thank you for being brave. And if you guys haven't already left us a review on the podcast, now is your chance. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.